President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has renewed calls for all Ugandans to take personal responsibility in protecting wetlands as the country records modest recovery in wetland coverage following years of environmental degradation. Now, the president's message was delivered by Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja during World Wetlands Day commemorations held at the National Environment Management Authority headquarters in Kampala. We take a look.
Government statistics indicate that Uganda's wetland cover has steadily declined over the years. In 1994, wetlands covered approximately 15% of the country, but this figure dropped sharply to 8.9% by 2024. However, following intensified government interventions to reclaim degraded wetlands, the trend is beginning to reverse. By 2025, Uganda's wetland cover had improved from 8.9% to 9.3%, signaling other signs of recovery. Today, Uganda joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Wetlands Day under the theme Wetlands and Traditional Knowledge, celebrating cultural heritage.
This year's global theme, Wetlands and Traditional Knowledge, celebrating cultural heritage, speaks directly to the soul of our nation and reminds us that the wetlands are not only ecological assets, but also a cultural landscape that have sustained communities for the generations. Across Uganda, wetlands have historically supported traditional livelihoods such as fishing, grazing, craft making, herbal medicine, and cultural rituals. When the wetlands are degraded, we lose not only the biodiversity and ecosystem services, but we also cultural identity, indigenous knowledge, and intergenerational wisdom.
The event held at NEMA headquarters in Kampala was graced by officials from the government and Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja, who represented the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
In the absence of wetlands, key sectors like agriculture, fisheries, tourism, and the craft industry and hydropower generation would be negatively impacted.
In his message, President Museveni acknowledged the critical role played by traditional leaders and indigenous knowledge in safeguarding ecosystems and called upon all citizens to actively participate in the protection and restoration of wetlands.
The NRM government remains committed to conservation, sustainable use and management of wetlands. I urge communities living near wetlands to engage in fish farming at the edges of the wetlands.
During the same event, the Prime Minister officially launched a 10-year National Wetlands Strategic Plan aimed at strengthening conservation efforts and promoting the sustainable management of Uganda's wetlands.
The plan provides a clear framework for action, addressing the challenges of degradation, encroachment, and climate change while promoting sustainable livelihoods and community resilience.
As Uganda marks World Wetlands Day, government leaders say that gradual recovery in wetland cover is a sign that sustainable conservation efforts can yield results if backed by collective responsibility. The newly launched 10-year strategy is expected to guide the country towards long-term protection of wetlands, which remain critical to climate resilience, livelihoods, and environmental sustainability.
Now, moving on, the Vice President of Uganda, Her Excellency Major Retired Jessica Lupo, representing President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has officially opened the 27th Annual Judges Conference at Speak Resort Munyonyo, calling for renewed efforts to address case backlogs and delays in the delivery of justice. Now, the three-day conference brings together judges and justice sector stakeholders to reflect on judicial wellness as a tool for effective case management. We have the report.
Today marked the official opening of the 27th Annual Judges Conference presided over by the Vice President of Uganda, His Excellency Jessica Alupo, on behalf of the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. In a message delivered by the Vice President, President Museveni emphasized that the judiciary's constitutional mandate is to deliver justice to all citizens, not merely in the principle but in practice. He acknowledged persistent delays in the disposal of the cases, attributing them largely to systematic challenges that have contributed to the growing case backlogs and undermined timely access to justice.
Our people should experience justice not in legal theory, but in time taken to resolve disputes, the cost involved, and the certainty of outcomes. When cases delay, citizens lose confidence, investors hesitate, and social tensions rise. Justice delayed is therefore justice denied. That is why I have consistently emphasized speed, efficiency, and discipline across all state institutions, including the judiciary.
The President further noted that the conference is expected to deliberate on alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, case management in complex matters, and the use of technology and judicial leadership as part of efforts to strengthen the justice system for the national development.
Uganda has long traditions of resolving disputes through dialogue and reconciliation. Courts should not be the first stop for every dispute. Judges must actively manage cases and guide parties towards appropriate resolution mechanisms. This reduces pressure on the judiciary and allows courts to focus on serious and complex matters.
The Chief Justice, Dr. Flavian, described the conference as more than a routine annual meeting, saying it provides judges with an opportunity to reflect on their achievements, assess challenges facing the judiciary, and chart a clear path forward.
I challenge us to acknowledge that justice is delivered by human beings and that the quality of justice we render cannot be separated from the wellness of those entrusted with the administration of justice. Why does judicial well-being matter? Undeniably, the judiciary plays a fundamental role in safeguarding vibrant democratic societies alongside the legislative and executive branches of government. As judges, we carry immense responsibility with our decisions, shaping people's lives, building communities, and conserving generations.
Honorable Justice Mika Chibita, the chairperson governing council of the Judicial Training Institute, noted that the conference theme marks a significant shift in how judicial reforms is approached, recognizing that judicial wellness is a fundamental pillar for the effective service delivery.
The figures in our performance reports are quite sobering. Over 190,000 cases which are pending as of June 2025.
Participants also engaged in discussions on alternative dispute resolution from perspectives of the bar and the private sector, with particular focus on its application in commercial and land justice.
Gender-based violence cases are pending across all levels, aged between 0 to 2 years.
Come and piggy ride on it and then bring your own drama. So we have said, if you want to, and that's why we have sometimes in our court 7, 8, 9 petitions, which we quickly consolidate and we realize the issues are the same.
After taking so long without hearing, they pretend as if they don't know anything about it.
Now, senior commanders of the Uganda People's Defense Forces have urged military prosecutors and court-martial chairpersons to uphold fairness, impartiality, and justice in the administration of military law as part of efforts to strengthen discipline and professionalism within the force. Now, the call was made today in Jinja as the UPDF opened an 8-day legal service induction training for military prosecutors and court-martial chairpersons. We have more of the details. While officiating at the opening of the 8-day legal services induction training at the Junior Staff College in Jinja, The Joint Staff Training and Doctrine Commander, Brigadier General Wycliffe Keita, urged court-martial chairpersons and military prosecutors to strictly uphold fairness, impartiality, and justice in the administration of military law. He noted that professionalism in military justice remains critical in maintaining discipline and operational integrity within the Uganda People's Defence Forces.
The Ziguruka case underscores the importance of aligning our military justice system with the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and the international human rights standards and all the other relevant laws of Uganda. In this case, the Supreme Court clarified the competencies of military courts, their ability to render a fair hearing, and the persons subject to their jurisdiction.
Brigadier General Keita described the training as timely, coming in the wake of a Supreme Court decision that introduced new standards governing Uganda's military court system. He emphasized that the role of prosecutors and court-martial chairpersons is central to safeguarding the credibility of military justice and sustaining public confidence in the UPDF.
In the UPDF, you will play a critical role in ensuring that our military justice system is fair, is impartial, and just, to align it with the standards that we are all called upon to uphold.
He further urged participants to apply the knowledge and skills acquired during the induction training in the execution of their daily duties in line with the law and professional ethics.
We expect you to uphold the highest standard of justice and accountability among the ranks. We expect you to promote a culture of respect for the law and human rights. We expect your support to the leadership in the development of professional and disciplined force, and we also expect you to contribute to the maintenance of peace and security in Uganda and beyond.
The commandant of the Legal Training Center, Colonel Susan Monga, said the induction training was designed to refresh and enhance participants' understanding of legal procedures governing the administration of justice in military courts.
Training is aimed at reminding participants of the procedural stages pertaining criminal trial. As you will observe, the timetable reflects the court process, and this has been done intentionally. This is aimed at emulating the stages the court is required to follow in order to arrive at justified judgments. I believe it is going to be an interesting interaction as you colleagues prepare to take on the mantle of our court's leadership.
The training attracted participants from the Joint Staff Legal Services, led by Brigadier General Moses Wandera, senior engineer officers from the Junior Staff College, as well as court-martial chairpersons and military prosecutors. And in other news, the People's Front for Freedom has demanded a comprehensive audit of the recently concluded general elections, accusing state institutions of gross mismanagement and militarization of the entire process. Now, addressing a press conference in Kampala, party leader Erias Lukwago described the elections as industrial-scale failure, warning that Ugandan's democratic space continues to shrink. Let us take a look.
Although the People's Front for Freedom did not field a presidential candidate in the 2026 elections, the party participated in the parliamentary and local government contests. From these elections, PFF secured 2 parliamentary seats, with Betty Awol Ochan winning the woman MP seat for Gulu City and Nakato Asina securing the woman MP seat for Hoima City. Elsewhere, the party registered least success. Addressing journalists today at the party headquarters on Katonga Road in Kampala, PFF Executive Chairperson Erias Lukwago painted a grim picture of Uganda political environment even after the concluded polls. Lukwago accused security agencies of orchestrating abductions and illegal detentions, claiming that opposition supporters were held in undisclosed detention facilities and subjected to torture. He alleged that these actions had intensified under the command of the Chief of Defense Forces and warned that opposition leaders continue to face intimidation and imprisonment.
Sam Gumia is among the is among a growing list of military abductions under the leadership of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the CDF, and Museveni's son. Kidnap, abduction, and arbitrary arrests are the hallmark of the 2026 general elections. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba has celebrated that he has so far murdered 22 citizens. This is something which is despicable.
Lukwago explained that the PFF participation in the 2026 election was strategic, aimed at mobilizing citizens within what he described as a restricted political space, while forging alliances with parties such as ANT and NUP to challenge what he termed as a one-family military backup leadership. According to Lukwago, the elections were deliberately manipulated, urging that the irregularities witnessed were not ordinary administrative errors.
PFF signed a cooperation agreement with the Alliance for National Transformation ANT, and both parties reached out to the National Unity Platform to form a united political front opportunity. The country once again must decide whether to continue with the Museveni family choice military dynasty or push back to the agreed 1995 constitutional order.
He claimed that in several polling stations where opposition candidates won, results were altered or overturned. Lukwago also directly challenged President Museveni's declared victory. The outgoing Kampala Lord Mayor further alleged that several NRM flag bearers who flagrantly pointing to at least 17 candidates who were declared unopposed under circumstances he described as illegal. He claimed that some candidates were forced out of the race outside the established law framework.
Even non-existing 71% victory was fraudulently constructed by the military aided by the Yabakama gang. NRM parliamentary candidates benefited from this fraud, and you have seen all of.
Lukwago also accused President Museveni of targeting opposition politicians, religious leaders and civil actors during the violent election period. He called on all Ugandans seeking liberation to unite peacefully, confront what he described as worsening governance and constitutional breakup.
The 2026 election has redefined elections in Uganda and the political trajectory in general, just like the 1980 elections did.
The People's Front for Freedom has now called on citizens to pursue peaceful means while demanding the release of political prisoners, restoration of constitutional governance, and accountability for electoral abuses. The party says it remains committed to mobilizing across the country, vowing to pursue its objectives without fear.
As the country makes sense and comes to terms with the industrial scale election failure, as PFF, we demand an audit of the 2026 elections.
And well, that's it from PFF. Now we take a look at the Archbishop's Moment. Archbishop's Moment. Sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
It is not yet done until it is done. There is hope amidst hopelessness. Even in your spiritual life, even in your job, some people think, no, I'm good, no promotion. You never know. I like football, and that's why I support Arsenal. The reason this younger man called Saka Bukayo, even when you're remaining with 5 minutes or 3, he can score. He can score. So let me tell you, God is a God. Even at the last minute, he's still working. Even when everybody says, that one is gone, scrap. God can promote you. God can do a miracle. God can work in your marriage. God can restore your marriage. God, even when you say, this one will never get married. She's beyond the age. Wapi.
Archbishop's Moment. Sponsored by Uganda Christian University, a center of excellence in the heart of Africa. Join the UCU experience now. And
St. John's Wakiso Secondary School, where faith meets education.
yes, if you feel that some things are not possible, you are reminded that God is a God of impossibilities. And all you have to do is to keep in prayer, but also trust. Trust in the Lord and do not lean on your own understanding. That's the message for tonight. We are going for a short commercial break. Do stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the short commercial break. Now, the Bishop of North Kigezi Diocese, the Right Reverend Onesmus Asimwe, has officially launched the Runyachitara service at St. Luke's Church of Uganda Ntinda Archdeaconry under Kampala Diocese in a move aimed at promoting inclusive worship and strengthening cultural identity within the Anglican Church. Now, during the service, the bishop delivered a strong message on reconciliation, urging Christians to remain humble, grateful, and obedient to God. Here is the report.
The launch of the Runyachitara service marks a significant milestone in promoting inclusivity and cultural expression with the Anglican Church. Bishop Onesmus Asimwe presided over the colorful service at St. Luke's Church of Uganda Ntinda, emphasizing the importance of worshiping God in languages that believers deeply understand and relate to.
ahabwo bumwe obutebekana n'obusinge twamizo muri Kristo ahabwo bumwe obutebekana n'obusinge kandi baroheje kandi kwa Paulo ariyo muchome ariko handikira bishemwe abo muri Efeso.
In his sermon, Bishop Asimwe delivered a powerful message on reconciliation both with God and among people, stressing that true reconciliation is only possible through Jesus Christ.
Remembrance of past alienation. Remembrance of past alienation. Ira tukaba tuteyine na Ruhanga. Esha kabiri okugarukana kweitu itwe omuntu kugarukana na Ruhanga kandi akagarukana n'omuntu mugenzi we. The present reconciliation, when God has reconciled humanity to himself, the vertical relationship, and then he gave us the ministry of reconciliation, 2 Corinthians 5:19. Hati the vertical one. So ahanyuma yo garukana na Ruhanga hati no garukana no muntu mugenzi wawe. And that is the order.
The bishop urged Christians to embrace confession and repentance, noting that reconciliation restores broken relationships and brings peace both within communities and before God.
Biringambira bamwe abebyo butegetsi abarukunjiri Ndikwagambira ngo okugarukana kigumire omuntu yabateyine Kristo abo ko muntu okoze ise billion ndikumani bari kuziha billion nkeishatu okuronda karuru ondijo muntu akamusinga abo ko akoze ise billion 5 ndikumanyisa ngo nizo bakoze ise nikwecho kureberaho hato muntu ubasinjire ahanyuma yokozesa billion 3 neshintu kigumira munonga okugarukana nogo wa musinjire ahatari Yesu.
Bishop Asimwe further reminded the believers not to forget their life journey, encouraging them to remain mindful of where they have come from and those who supported them along the way. He also called upon Christians to live lives marked by obedience and willingness, emphasizing that genuine faith must be demonstrated through humility, good conduct, and service to others.
Nokoroba. Abefeso shura kabiri mushongo 14 ahaboko bogu niwo businge bweitu. Owatuhindwire yitwa ababiri kubomwe obusinge bweitu. Obusinge ni bwija ahabwo koroba. Abukoroba. Isaya ishobora kubanza ushaka 19 ni kugira ngo kumuriyoroba muri yari yo burunje bwensi. Obusinge tibulija oteyino koroba mu mutima okoroberera kari ya Ruhanga okushirira obusinge na mugenzi wawe.
The service concluded with prayers and thanksgiving as congregants welcomed the Runyakitara service as a new chapter of unity, reconciliation, and spiritual growth within the church.
Balize kubi tujumire batahe baitu tukozere bitasemiri kora baitu mukama yiwo woganyira kandi okubihirwa toyangwa kubihirwa baitu yangwa kuganyira.
And moving on, a cross-section of dignitaries from across the globe has converged at Uganda Christian University for the 5-day third International Campus Conference aimed at bridging the gap between academic training and real-world newsroom applications to improve the quality of public discourse on migration. Now, the conference was officially opened by the UCU Vice-Chancellor, Associate Professor Aaron Mushenjezi. We have the report.
For 5 days, the third International Compass Conference will run under the theme Media, Migration and Mobility, Reimaging the African Narrative, drawing participants from Africa and beyond. The conference is part of the 5-year project Communicating Migration and Mobility e-learning programs and newsroom applications for Sub-Saharan Africa, funded by European Union in collaboration between 8 universities across Sub-Saharan Africa and Europe. Organized by Uganda Christian University through the School of Journalism, Media and Communication, the conference seeks to bridge the gap between academic instruction and newsroom realities with the aim of strengthening ethical, informed and impactful reporting on migration. Speaking at the opening ceremony, UCU Vice-Chancellor Associate Professor Aaron Mushenjezi expressed concern over the rising cases of forced migration globally, calling on journalists and scholars to pay great attention to migration as a critical public interest issue.
If you look at the world today, forced migration is a very serious reality. Forced migration is a serious reality. How we perceive of this reality as journalists and journalism educators is very, very important. How do we report on these kinds of circumstances that force people to leave where they have lived and go somewhere else?
Former Dean of the School of Journalism, Media and Communication at UCU, Professor Monica Chibita, outlined key challenges that hinder effective migration reporting, including limited access to data, safety concerns, and gaps in specialized training.
Most of the challenges are logistical. People don't have computers. People who would like to learn more how to report on migration don't have the facilities, don't have computers, don't have offices to work. They are mostly freelance journalists. They are not paid much. They can't afford data and so on. The electricity in some places is non-existent or unreliable. So those are some of the challenges. There are also challenges of schedules. People cannot fit this within their schedule, especially given that it's a self-taught course. You have to pace yourself and decide, I'll do one module this week, another module next. There's no teacher hovering over all the time.
In his keynote address, Professor Ralph Akinfeleye from the World's Joint Education Committee unpacked the topic, containing issues in reporting migration among African journalists and journalism students, highlighting ethical, political and professional dilemmas faced in migration coverage.
Bridging the gap, bridging relationship management between the town and the gang. That means both the classroom and the newsroom must work together for an enduring and sustainable migrant reporting. I repeat, both the classroom and the newsroom must work together. They are going to have sustainable migrant reporting. For instance, in the past Africa,
Professor Akinfeleye further offered practical recommendations to improve migration reporting among African journalists and journalism students.
The coordination of journalism education and teaching by establishing a curriculum of relevance for migration reportage in journalism training and education in the universities. And Christian University of Uganda is not an exception. such as Reporting Africa.
And the third topic I would like to point out is migration. I mean, this is the content of what you have been doing. And again, we live in a world of a lot of superlatives, unfortunately. There are more people on the move than have ever been recorded.
Participants engaged in discussions aimed at identifying solutions to improve migration reporting across Africa.
Be able to work with the practitioners, and some of the best stories I've written around migration are not on arrival.
What would you consider to be a best or optimum combination of being indigenous Africa, but appreciating also that you are in the global world, because otherwise...
Since its inception in 2023, the Compass project has played a leading role in advancing digital transformation in higher education. Through curriculum development in 4 languages of English, French, Portuguese and Kiswahili, the project has trained more than 100 researchers and over 1,500 students and media professionals. The consortium brings together partner universities from Uganda, Burkina Faso, Germany and Portugal, alongside associate partners across Africa and international bodies including UNESCO and the World Journalism Education Council. John Baptista Humza, Church of Uganda, Family TV News at 8.
And moving on, a Ugandan philanthropist has funded a 17 million shilling water project at Mugomba Primary School in Mukono District, restoring access to clean water and improving hygiene at the historic government-aided school. Now, the intervention comes just ahead of the new school term and is expected to significantly improve learning conditions for pupils. Our reporter has more.
As schools across the country prepare to reopen for the new term on February 10th, in line with the Ministry of Education guidelines, Mugoba Primary School is beginning the year with renewed hope after years of struggling with unanswered water storage. Located in Bugigi, Mpata sub-county in Mukono district, the school had for years faced severe challenges with pupils forced to trek through the forests and valleys to fetch water from the unsafe shallow sources. The challenge has now been resolved through the support of Stephen Semalala, a Ugandan well-wisher living in Washington, USA. Through the Kamukama Learning Foundation, Semalala funded the construction of a well and installation of a pipe connected to a 1,000-litre water tank, restoring hygiene and sanitation at the school.
Mr. Semala believes that every child deserves a good education, and because of that he contributes to help schools in Uganda.
According to Rogers Nsamba, Kamukama Learning Foundation's operation manager in Uganda, the project cost shillings 17 million. He added that the foundation's support goes beyond water provision, noting that it has also supplied computers, learning equipment and other essential classic materials to the school.
There will be better hygiene in schools. The project will enable students to contribute on their studies easing life.
The chairperson of the School Management Committee, Henry Chiaga, highlighted Mugoba Primary School's rich history, recalling that it once educated former Tanzanian President Benjamin William. However, he noted that the school still faces challenges, including a shortage of the classrooms and teachers, with some pupils studying under the trees due to overcrowding.
We started with 23 students, and now we stand at 500 plus. We are requesting government to hire more teachers for better education.
Despite these challenges, the school has registered notable academic improvement. Bialiwa William, a teacher at the school, revealed that last year only 1 pupil failed primary 1, while many others successfully progressed to primary 2.
Sub-county, tusanga nti mpata sub-county amasomero agalimu aga government, amasomero omwenda, Mugomba primary twasobola okufuna first grade, ngate wetwala abanti mu kitundu ng'ekyampata tezaalabika naye ate ffe twagifuna. Mukuba besi naye nga Mugomba twalina abayizi abasoba mu 50 era nga first grade yali emu ng'abasinga bayitidde mu second ne third n'abaakola obubi nga bali awo mu fourth.
The water project marks a significant milestone in improving learning and hygiene conditions at Mugoba Primary School, offering immediate relief and long-term benefits for the pupils.
Plot 4, Lugard Road, where All Saints Cathedral Nakasero is, and you can contact us on the numbers.
Have you taken it?
Our staff has more than 20 years experience in working with children. We look forward to serving you and
Well, that's what we had for you in our international news. Now let us take a look at our headlines.
Headlines brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
In our headlines tonight, commemorating World Wetland Day, President Museveni renews calls for all Ugandans to take personal responsibility in protecting wetlands, as the country records modest recovery in wetland coverage following years of environmental degradation.
In the absence of wetlands, key sectors like agriculture, fisheries, tourism, and the craft industry, and hydropower generation would be negatively impacted.
While PFF joins opposition parties in rejecting Museveni's victory, demands independent audit of 2026 general election, as Lukwago accuses state institutions of militarizing the polls.
Simon Byabaka and his group and the Electoral Commission will go down in the history of Uganda's democratic journey as the most compromised, incompetent, and subversive group of political bandits that occupied the state institution.
And on the other side, Iran framework for negotiations with us to be finalized soon. Supreme Leader Ayatollah warns of regional conflict if US attempts to attack Iran.
Brought to you by
Centenary Publishing House, the leading publishers of prayer and hymn books since 1977.
Well, that brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. We do want to say thank you for keeping it a Church of Uganda Family TV News at 8. My name is Hope Nyongereza and I wish you a great night.